Once upon a time, in a great kingdom in Nigeria, there was a powerful Oba, King Adewale. He had 7 wives but no children, which caused him great sorrow. He worried about who would inherit his throne when he passed. One day, a poor old Babalawo, a traditional priest, visited the palace and said, "Your prayers have been answered, Kabiyesi. One of your wives will give birth to a son." Oba Adewale was overjoyed. He immediately ordered celebrations throughout the kingdom. Drummers played, dancers performed, and the people rejoiced in anticipation of the future prince. Meanwhile, the 7 wives lived in a grand palace, treated with the best care, and had many servants attending to them. The Oba loved hunting and often went deep into the forest. One morning, as he prepared to leave, his wives sent him a message. "Kabiyesi, please do not go north today. We had bad dreams, and we fear something terrible may happen." The Oba, though skeptical, promised to avoid the north. But as he hunted south, east, and west, he found no game. Frustrated and determined not to return empty-handed, he decided to ignore his wives' warning and went north. There, he saw a strange sight. A dazzling white antelope with golden horns and silver hooves. It was the most beautiful creature he had ever seen. The Oba's heart burned with desire to catch it. He ordered his hunters to form a circle around it, but just as he reached for it, the antelope leaped over his head and disappeared into the forest. Without thinking, the Oba mounted his horse and chased after it. He rode deep into an unknown valley until he reached a small, dirty hut. Tired and thirsty, the Oba entered the hut, where he saw an old woman spinning cotton. He asked for water, and the old woman called her daughter, Abeni. Abeni was the most beautiful woman the Oba had ever seen. Her skin was smooth as silk, her hair glowed like the moon, and her eyes sparkled like the stars. As she handed him the cup of water, the Oba realized she was the white antelope in human form. He immediately fell in love and begged her to return with him as his wife. "Kabiyesi, you already have 7 wives," Abeni laughed. "Are they not enough?" But the Oba was bewitched by her beauty and swore to do anything to prove his love. "If you truly love me," Abeni said slyly, "bring me the eyes of your 7 wives." The Oba, blinded by his obsession, returned to the palace and ordered his guards to pluck out the eyes of his 7 wives. The poor women were thrown into a dark, damp prison, forgotten by the world. Satisfied, Abeni followed the Oba back to the palace and became his favorite wife, taking over everything that once belonged to the 7 wives. Unknown to the Oba, his youngest wife Morayo had been pregnant. Soon after being blinded and imprisoned, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy, Tunde. At first, the other wives resented the child, but as he grew, he became their only hope. Tunde was a clever and fearless boy. Even as a toddler, he managed to dig a small hole in the prison wall. Through it, he crawled out every day, searching for food. As he grew older, he found ways to sneak into the market, where kind strangers gave him food. He always brought something back for his 7 blind mothers. When he became a teenager, Tunde learned to hunt. One day, while shooting pigeons near the palace, he caught the attention of Abeni, the wicked queen. Abeni instantly knew who he was through her magic. Furious, she devised a plan to kill him. She called Tunde and said sweetly, "My dear boy, if you give me the pigeon you just caught, I will help you find your mother's eyes." Tunde, eager to help his mothers, handed over the pigeon. Abeni gave him a small clay tablet with a message and told him to take it to her mother in the valley. What Tunde didn't know was that the message said, "Kill the bearer immediately and sprinkle his blood like water." On his journey, Tunde passed through another kingdom, where he heard about a princess named Adesuwa. She had refused to marry anyone unless he was the son of 7 mothers. Tunde was taken to her, and as soon as she saw him, she smiled and said, "This is the one." Before he left, Adesuwa asked to see the tablet he was carrying. When she read the wicked message, she quickly replaced it with another that said, "Give this boy whatever he desires and treat him well." Tunde reached the old woman's hut and gave her the new message. grumbling, she removed the necklace of 13 eyes and gave it to him. He rushed home and gave 2 eyes each to 6 of his mothers. To his own mother, he gave just 1 and said, "Mama, I will be your second eye forever." Tunde was now a young man, and with Princess Adesuwa's help, he prepared a grand feast and invited Oba Adewale. When the Oba arrived, he was shocked to find 7 familiar women sitting on thrones, dressed in royal robes. "Kabiyesi, do you recognize us?" Princess Adesuwa asked. The Oba, confused, looked closer and realized they were his 7 wives. Tunde stepped forward and told his father everything. The Oba was horrified at what he had done under Abeni's spell. Blinded by rage, he ordered Abeni to be banished from the kingdom forever. Oba Adewale begged for his wives' forgiveness. They forgave him, but they refused to return as his wives. Instead, they chose to live freely in their own palace. Tunde married Princess Adesuwa, and together, they ruled wisely. As for the wicked Abeni, no one ever saw her again, but villagers whispered that sometimes, on a full moon, a white antelope with golden horns could be seen wandering in the forest.